Okay, others? Who joined by the name Sandaru? Yeah. Yes, the answer is actually the fourth one. Huh? Now, cell එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ, now we know according to the cell theory. We know the cell theory, right? Cell theory was put forward by Schleiden, Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow, right? Virchow, or whatever. So, what did those three people say that the structural and functional unit of life is a cell? Ek egolam kiyapu point එක. Structural and functional unit of life is cell. Then one cell new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Alut cells hadene tiyana cells walimai. Ek time metana kiyan me dekhe. And then the other one was what? All organisms are made up of one or more cells. Neither etakota, that was cell theory. Then who observed the cells for the first time from a microscope that he made? Robert Hooke. Okay. Anyhow, put a background however, typical the we have learned so many organelles like nucleus, Golgi, mitochondria, in plants there's chloroplast, cell wall, vacuole, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes. All of these organelles are not present in all the cells. For an the nucleus and godadrot ham cell for an example, up red blood cells red blood cells don't have a nucleus. And then if you take certain other like meristematic meristematic cells are chloroplast ne. ඒ වගේ හැම සෙල් එකකම ඔක්කොම organelles ටික නැහැ. Some organelles are absent. හැබැයි එහෙම වුණොත් අපිට ගොඩක් cells study කරන්න වෙනවා in order to study all the organelles, right? Because of that, අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි cell එකක් construct කරනවා. Can hypothetically, it's not a real cell, it's a cell that we design consisting of all the organelles. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙන ඔක්කොම organelles එක cell එකකට දාන අපිට study කරන්න ලේසි වෙනවා. That is what a typical cell means. So a typical cell may not be a real cell, but it's just a cell that we draw consisting of all the organelles so that it's easy for us to study and understand. Harida. Okay, next question. Which of the following components is based on the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction? Answer. Yeah. Others? Okay. So electromagnetic induction electromagnetism we talked about two parts. What are the two parts that we three parts of the if you take a current carrying conductor, so conductor it carries current and it is it's placed in a magnetic field. That's a current carrying conductor and it is placed in a magnetic field. Then there will be a force generated according to Fleming's left-hand rule, right? When there's a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, it will generate a force. That is that we can the direction of the force we can find using Fleming's left-hand rule. A direct current motor can an example. Loudspeaker can take an example. Gan matakat. Bell again අපි කතා කරේ නැහැ. Then moving coil magnetic microphone තමයි electromagnetic induction වල example එක. If you remember, electromagnetic induction means we have a conductor, we have a magnetic field or a magnet, whatever. There has to be a relative motion. Ekko coil ekko me conductor එක move වෙනවා, magnetic field එක constant. Ekko magnetic field එක change වෙනවා, conductor එක constant. or there's a relative motion. There will be a current induced, a voltage induced. We call it electromagnetic induction. Okay, induced voltage, induced current. So, examples තුනක් කතා කරා. One was the alternating current dynamo, AC dynamo. Then we talked about this microphone, moving coil magnetic microphone. Then we also talked about bicycle dynamo. We also talked about bicycle dynamo. So here now, moving coil magnetic microphone is an example for electromagnetic induction. Next one, of the fruits shown in the following diagram, which could be a fruit that has suitable adaptation to be dispersed by water? Okay. Yeah. If you look at the first one, මෙයා can disperse වෙනවා වගේද පේන්නේ. Look at the first one. There are hooks, no? So there are hooks means it's easy for this particular fruit or seed to get attached to organisms. සත්තුන්ගේ එහෙම සත්තුන්ගේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ එහෙම attach වෙන ලේසි hook එකක් තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් මෙයා definitely disperse වෙන්නේ animals වගේ. What about the fourth one? මෙයා hairs වගේ තියෙනවා. So that kind of gives the idea that this is light and this will flow. Anyways, we learned that in dispersal adaptations. So this is most probably wind. බලන්න second එක ගත්තොත් එහෙම second එකේ ඇතුලේ there are pores. නිකන් මේ pores වගේ තියෙන සිදුරු වගේ. So if you remember when a particular fruit or a seed is dispersed by water, there are air-filled pores or air-filled shells inside the fruit. May air fill වෙලා තියෙන shells inside the fruit. අන්න එහෙම ඒවා තමයි අපි කියන්නේ water වලින් disperse වෙනවා කියලා. So when there are air-filled shells or pores or whatever inside, then that seed or fruit will easily float. Okay? මෙයා නම් හරි මෙයා explosive mechanism වගේ. හැබැයි මේක නිකන් wing structures දෙයක් වගේ ගත්තොත් wind කියලා කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේක wind එකෙන් disperse වෙනවා කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. අපි හරියටම දන්නේ නැහැ මට එච්චර පේන්නේ නැහැ ඒක, right? But most probably it's explosive mechanism. Anyhow, second one is the answer because they're asking suitable adaptations to be dispersed by water. Up to that point, is it clear, Lamai? Thumbs up, please. Others? Okay. Let's move on. Excuse me. Consider the following statements about catalysts. A, catalysts increase as well as decrease reaction rates. B, though catalysts take part in the chemical reaction, they are not consumed during the reaction. C, a small amount of the catalyst is adequate for a large amount of reactants. Which one is the answer? Others? Which one is the answer here? Okay, if you look at the statement A, yeah. Catalysts increase as well as decrease reaction rates. Because catalysts increase reaction rates, but what decreases reaction rates? What decreases reaction rates? Inhibitors. Inhibitors are the ones that decrease reaction rates. Though catalysts take part in chemical reaction, they are not consumed during the reaction. That is true. That is one of the significant features of catalysts, right? ඒගොල්ලන් chemical reaction එකට participate කරනවා but ඒගොල්ලන් consume වෙන්නේ නැහැ. C, a small amount of the catalyst is adequate for a large amount of reactants. That is also true. So එහෙනම් B and C, second one is the correct answer. Consider the following equation. Select the option that gives appropriate examples for A and B in the above equation. What is it? What is A, Lamai? When you look at A has a chemical formula C6H12O6. Generally, what is A? Okay, A can be glucose. What else can A be? Just glucose. මෙතන A කියන්නේ glucose වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම කියන්නේ generally ගත්තොත් C6H12O6 කියන formula එක තියෙන්නේ කාටද? Yeah. So if you take carbohydrates, there are three types, no? Monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. What is the formula for monosaccharides? Now we just said C6H12O6. What is the formula for disaccharides? What is the formula for disaccharides? What is the formula for disaccharides? Chemical formula. Yes. C12H22O11. But methanol hydrogen to oxygen ratio is 2:1. Here also hydrogen to oxygen ratio is 2:1. What is the formula for polysaccharides? What is the formula for polysaccharides? Yes. C6H10O5. A wage units godak තියෙන පුළුවන්. We don't know how many, so we put N. Here also hydrogen to oxygen ratio is 2:1. Then මෙතන C6H12O6 කියන්නේ it's a monosaccharide. C12H22O11 is a disaccharide. Again, they're talking about the part where when two monosaccharides join, they form a disaccharide, right? Monosaccharides දෙකක් join වුණාම disaccharide plus water. ඒ වගේම තමයි disaccharide එකට water දැම්මම monosaccharides දෙකක් හැදෙනවා. එහෙනම් glucose maltose වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Glucose malt because glucose is monosaccharide, maltose is disaccharide. Glucose cellulose වෙන්න බෑ, cellulose is a polysaccharide. Fructose starch වෙන්න බෑ, starch is a polysaccharide. Fructose glycogen වෙන්න බෑ because glycogen is also a polysaccharide. එහෙනම් first one is the answer. When a block of wood A is placed in a liquid, it floats with a part immersed. Which of the following is a true statement in relation to this? අර ස්වෝන් ගේ කතාවේදී මම මේක එකපාරක් explain කරා, but එතන හිටපු ආයත සහ නැති ආයත I will explain this part once again, but I won't be talking about it again. Nah? When you put an object into water, any object as soon as you put into water, it goes inside, right? පස්සේ පාවෙන්න උඩට ආවත් initially it goes inside, right? So as soon as I put an object into water, it goes inside. Then there's a downward force weight. There's an upward force upthrust. Let's say in this particular instance, upthrust is greater than weight. What will happen to the object? What will happen to this object? What will happen to the object? Hmm? If upthrust is greater than the weight, what will happen to this object? Make it fast. Quickly tell me. It goes up. Yes, it floats. It goes up. That means it floats. It goes up until upthrust becomes equal to weight. Until upthrust is equal to weight, it will go up. Neither. Let's say I put another object to water. So we know downward there is weight. Upward there is upthrust. Here, let's say upthrust is equal to weight. What will happen to this object? It floats but submerged. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම භාගයට submerge වෙලා but floats. උඩට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒතර ඔය ඉන්න තැනම ඉඳන් එයා float වෙනවා. Let's say I put another object to water. මෙයාගේ පල්ලෙහාට weight එක තියෙනවා උඩට upthrust තියෙනවා. In this particular case, let's say weight is greater than upthrust. What will happen to the object? It sinks. It sinks to the bottom. These are three different instances of upthrust, right? Then අපි sentences ටිකට යමු. Now this is floating and floating like on the surface. On the surface කියන්නේ partially submerged and floating. මෙන්න මේ instance එක වගේ. Partially submerged and floating කියන්නේ at this instance you know upthrust is equal to weight. At this instance. Let's see. When upthrust exerted by the liquid on A is equal to the total weight of A. Upthrust exerted by the liquid on A is equal to the total weight of A seems right. Weight of liquid displaced by A is equal to the weight of the part A immersed in the liquid. එහෙම එකක් අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවද? Second sentence again හිතන්න. Have we learned something like this before? එහෙනම් අපි ඒකට related මොකක්ද ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්නේ? අපි ඒකට related මොකක්ද ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්නේ? Weight of the liquid displaced by A is equal to weight of the part of A immersed කියන එක නෙමෙයි අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ. Weight of the liquid displaced is equal to the upthrust කියලා නේ. ඔගන්න මතකද අපි මෙන්න මේ වගේ beak එකක් use කරා. මෙතන water fill කරලා තියෙන. So when you immerse this, part of the water will overflow. Excuse me. Part of the water will overflow. එතකොට මේ water වල weight එක ගත්තාම that weight is equal to the upthrust exerted on the object. එතකොට weight of the liquid displaced by A is equal to the upthrust, not weight of part A immersed. So මේක වැරදි. Volume of the liquid displaced by A is equal to total volume of A. Volume ගැන අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ නැහැ. Density ගැනත් අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ නැහැ. So first one is the answer anyways. Up to that point, is it clear, lamai? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Let's move on to the next set of questions. Let me get the questions to the whiteboard. 2018 paper ka පටන් ගද්දිම කිව්වා now we are not going to like lag, we are going to go a bit faster because මෙච්චර කාල අපි question by question discuss කර කර ඒකට අදාළ lesson wise discuss කරානේ නේ. So now we are going to go a bit faster. අලුත් දෙයක් වගේ තිබ්බොත් difficult දෙයක් we will discuss in length, but otherwise we will increase our speed. දැන් මෙතන ඉඳන් තමයි Saturday class එකටත් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ because up to the 12th question we did in the class. Okay. I'm sorry, Lama, I'm constantly muting myself because I have sneezes. Okay. Which option correctly indicates the main function of xylem? What is the main function of xylem? Yeah. Transporting water. Yes. In addition to transporting water, is there anything else that xylem do? Yes. So xylem wala main function එක තමයි transporting water. In addition to that, you know, xylem wala there are 3 dead structures. Xylem vessel element is dead, tracheids are dead, fibers are dead because they have lignin deposits. So lignin deposit වෙලා dead වෙනවා කියන්නේ ඒවා හරිම strong. Lignin kind of gives strength. එතකොට ඒක හින්දා xylem වල another function would be to give the support, mechanical support, but they are talking about the main function of xylem. So main function කියලා කියන්නේ transportation of water. එහෙනම් first answer හරි third answer තමයි අපේ options. Then what is the main function of phloem? Translocation of food. So leaves වල හදන food එක plant එකේ ඉතුරු parts වලට transport කරන එක තමයි phloem එකෙන් කරන්නේ. So the answer is the third one. Okay. Which of the following oxides does not take part in the extraction process of iron? Then මතකද extraction of iron වල reactions ටික ලියන්න බලන්න. Leon, I'll give you 2 minutes. There are 4 main reactions. And in addition to that, there are 2 slag forming reactions. Iron extraction එකේ main reactions 4ක් තියෙනවා. Then there are 2 slag forming reactions. Quickly do this. I'm getting some answers in the chat box as well. Make it fast. All right. So extraction of iron reactions ටික අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මාර්ම important. එකක් තමයි we put coke. Coke is carbon. Carbon reacts with oxygen forming carbon dioxide. Then this formed carbon dioxide will further react with coke. Then coke තව දානවනේ raw materials වල coke is carbon. This carbon will react with carbon dioxide further and form carbon monoxide. Carbon දෙකයි oxygen දෙකයි එන මේ පැත්තේ balance වුණාම I put a 2 here. This carbon monoxide Fe2O3 තමයි use කරන්නේ. Fe2O3 is hematite, that is another raw material. So hematite will react with carbon monoxide forming liquid iron. මෙයාව තමයි අපිට ඕනේ කියලා. Plus more carbon dioxide. The balance වුණාම මෙතනට 3, මෙතනට 2, මෙතනට 3. Then calcium carbonate දැම්මහම calcium carbonate decomposes when we heat because of the heat to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Then මේ හැදෙන calcium oxide ටික මොකද කරන්නේ? slag හදන්න උදව් කරනවා. So calcium oxide will react with silicon dioxide, silica, which is an impurity present in hematite, in iron ore. This is an impurity. And form CaSiO3. This calcium oxide will also react with alumina, Al2O3, which is also present as an impurity, and form Al2O4. මේ දෙන්නට තමයි අපි slag කියලා කියන්නේ. Yes. Yes, Yara. Okay. So which of the following oxides does not take part? Does not take part. Calcium oxide takes part ne. We can clearly see මෙතන calcium oxide හැදෙන ටික slag වලට use කරනවා. So they take part. Carbon dioxide is also there. May carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. Silicon dioxide is also there. See, silica. Magnesium oxide කියලා කියන්නේ පලාතේවත් නැහැ, right? So the answer is magnesium oxide. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the 15th question. An alternating voltage was subjected to full wave rectification. Okay, let's go step by step. Alternating voltage එකක් subjected to full wave rectification. Full wave rectification කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? Let's say this is an alternating voltage. මම ගොඩාක් ලොකුවට විස්තර කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. We have a rectification bridge of 4 diodes. And then here, we have a resistor. It could be an ammeter, galvanometer. It could be like a bulb, whatever. දැන් මට මෙහෙන් මුලින්ම full wave rectification graph එක අඳිනවා. This is voltage, yes. Voltage versus time. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන් දන්නවා current එක මේ direction එකට ගියොත්. Directions දෙකටම යනවනේ alternating වල මේ direction එකට ගියොත් this would be reverse bias. ඒක හින්දා මෙන්න මෙහෙම යන්න. ඊළඟ මෙන්න මෙයා through යනවා. ගියාට පස්සේ ආයේ මෙයා through යන්නේ because that is reverse bias. ඒකින්ද මෙන්න මෙහෙම ගිහිල්ලා මේ resist එක through මෙහෙම පල්ලෙහා direction එකට යනවා. මෙතනට එනවා මෙයා through යන්නේ නැහැ මොකද එතන already current path එකක් තියෙනවා. So මෙයා through යනවා. මෙයා through යන්නේ again current path එකක් තියෙනවා. So මෙයා through ඇවිල්ලා comes back to the alternating voltage supply. එහෙනම් එතන මෙන්න මෙහෙම record වෙනවා. Opposite direction එක ගත්තොත්. Let me erase this to show the opposite direction. Okay. Opposite direction එක ගත්තොත් here current goes like this. මෙයා through යන්නේ reverse bias හින්දා so මෙහෙම යනවා. මෙයා through යන්නේ reverse bias හින්දා so it will go like this. එතනත් උඩ ඉඳන් පල්ලෙහාට තමයි යන්නේ same direction. මෙහෙම යනවා මෙහෙම ගිහිල්ලා it will go like this. Right? එතනත් එකම direction එකට current එක record වෙන්නේ මෙහෙම. So එහෙනම් full wave rectification වල now you know alternating voltage එකක් කියන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම එක්කෙනෙක්. It goes both ways. But when we rectify it using full wave rectification, the entire thing is converted to direct current like this. On a full wave rectification wala veche. Followed by smoothing by a capacitor. Then capacitor again smooth karanna tone. Then capacitor again smooth karam mokada wenne. So that means we can attach like a capacitor here. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? එයා වෙනම ස්ටෝර් කරනවානේ. ඒතර අඩු වෙන වෙලාවට එයා එයාගෙන් රිලීස් කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙයාව අඩු වෙන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So something like this. අපි answers වලට යමු. First one is not possible. මොකද මෙච්චර ලස්සනට ස්මූත් උනේ නෑනේ නේ. This is a direct current, like straight away a direct current. මෙයා නම් full wave rectification වෙච්ච කෙනෙක් හැබැයි smooth කරලා නැහැ capacitor එකකින්. මෙයා ගත්තොත් half wave rectification වෙච්ච කෙනෙක් smooth කරලා නැහැ. මෙයා ගත්තොත් this is the answer. You can see that is very similar to what we constructed here. Okay. Then what is the phenotype ratio obtained when two organisms with genotypes capital T simple T and simple T were crossed? Phenotype ratio. හරි අපි cross එකක් කරලා බලමු. Capital T simple T එක්කෙනෙකුයි simple T එක්කෙනෙකුයි තමයි cross වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Capital T simple T එක්කෙනෙකුට there are two types of how gametes can be. There can be capital T. There can be simple T. Simple T දෙන්නෙක් නම් it's simple T and simple T. When you cross capital T simple T cross unahama enekkena capital T simple T. Capital T simple T unahama enekkena that is also capital T simple T. Simple T unahama enne simple T this simple T. මෙතන genotype ratio එක මොකද්ද? phenotype එක නේ අහන්නේ අපේ. phenotype එක නැතුව මට genotype ratio එක කියන්න. Offsprings there are how many genotypes are here? Genotypes are the like actual genetic combination. How many genotypes are here? Yes, capital T simple T දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. Simple T දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. එහෙනම් genotypes ಜಾති දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ දෙන්නගේ ratio එක 2:2 that is 1:1. That is genotype. Let's look at the phenotype. අපි හරියටම දන්නේ නැහැ මෙතන tall short මොකද්ද කියලා අපි හරියටම දන්නේ නැහැ characteristic එක. හැබැයි ඕගොල්ලන් දන්නවා මෙයා ගත්තොත් මෙයාගේ dominant එකේනා තමයි පෙන්වන්නේ. මෙයා ගත්තොත් මේ දෙන්නගේ recessive ඒවා තමයි පෙන්වන්නේ. නේද? For an example, if you take tall short, මෙයාගේ tall gene එක තියෙන හින්දා both of these will be tall, both of these will be short because එතන recessive විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් phenotype ratio එක 2:2, that should be 1:1. මට phenotype එක මොකක්ද කියලා කියන්න බෑ මොකද question එකේ දීලා නැහැ නේද? නෑ question එකේ දීලා නැහැ what are the characteristic that they are talking about කියලා. ඒක හින්දා මට ඒක මොකක්ද phenotype එක කියලා කියන්න බෑ but phenotype ratio is 1:1. Okay. The relative molecular mass of the hormone adrenaline is 183. Thus, X in the relationship. Relative molecular mass. දැන් මේ question එක ටික අලුත් ඒවා තියෙනවා ටිකක්. Right? So, relative molecular mass ගත්තොත් එහෙම I told you there are three different ways to find relative molecular mass. Relative molecular mass ගත්තා. Right? Number one. Method number one තමයි relative molecular mass equals mass of the molecule you divide by 1/12 of mass of carbon 612 isotope. May method 1. Excuse me. Method 2 එක මොකක්ද? Relative molecular mass is equal to mass of the molecule divided by atomic mass unit. ඔයාලට මතක ඇති atomic mass unit එක. Then relative molecular mass ගන්න third method එකක් තියෙනවා. Relative molecular mass වල third method එක you add the relative atomic masses of the atoms. Masses of the atoms making up the molecule. මේ molecule එක හදන atoms ටිකේ relative atomic masses add කරාම තවට relative molecular mass එනවා. These are the three methods. If you look at this one, mass of the adrenaline molecule, our relative molecular mass is 183. So එකන මෙතන 183 දාලා. Mass of the adrenaline molecule උඩ තියෙනවා. යට මොකද්ද එන්න ඕනේ denominator එක. So denominator එක එක්ක එන්න ඕනේ 1/12 of mass of carbon 612 isotope නැත්නම් atomic mass unit. ඔය දෙකෙන් එකක් තමයි එන්න ඕනේ. So here mass of carbon 612 atom, that is wrong. 1/12 of mass of carbon 612 isotope, that seems correct. 12 multiplied by mass of carbon 612 atom, no. 1/12 multiplied by molar mass of carbon 612, that is also no. Molar mass කතාවක් නෙවෙයි, it's just mass. So the answer is the second one. Up to this point, is everything clear, lamai? Give me a thumbs up. Everybody. හැමෝටම clearද? Okay. Let me get the rest of the questions to the whiteboard. Consider the following aqueous solutions of equal concentration. NaOH, NH4OH, CH3COOH, HCl. Increasing order of pH. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් acids and bases ගත්තාම කාගේද pH අඩුම? කාගේද pH අඩුම? Acids වල අඩුයි එන්න bases වල වැඩි. If you look at sodium hydroxide, what is this? අපිට A මම මේ පැත්තෙන් ලියන්නම්. A කියලා අපිට තියෙන sodium hydroxide. What is this? Acid or base, then strong acid, strong base, weak acid, weak base. මොකක්ද? Yes, it is a base. Is it a strong base or a weak base? Is it a strong acid, strong base, weak acid, weak base? ඔය හතරෙන් කියන්න. Quickly tell my answers. මෙච්චර වෙලා ගන්න බෑ. Yeah, it is a strong base. කො අනිත් කට්ටිය? කීප දෙනයි අම්මලම answer කරන්නේ. Others answer. What about ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH? What kind of a acid or base is this? Okay, it's a base. What kind of a base is it? Strong base or weak base? Quick to tell me. Yes. It is a weak base. Then we have CH3COH. This is actually acetic acid. Acetic acid is the acid that is present in vinegar. What kind of an acid or base is this? Okay, is it a strong acid or a weak acid? CH3COH, is it a strong acid or a weak acid? Yeah, it is a weak acid. What about HCl? What kind of an acid is HCl? Yeah. Strong acid. එතකොට increasing order of pH and ascending order of pH කියලා කියන්නේ pH අඩුම එකේ ඉඳන් වැඩිම එකට. pH අඩුම වෙන්නේ acidic ගතිය වැඩිම එක්කෙනාට. The more acidic a particular substance is, the pH is the lowest. එහෙනම් strong acid එකේ තමයි lowest pH එක. ඊළඟට weak acid එක. ඊළඟට bases ගත්තොත් එimhe base එක වැඩි වෙන pH වැඩි. In weak base එකේ pH එක comparatively අඩුයි. ඊට පස්සේ strong base එකේ තමයි pH එක වැඩිම. So answer should be DCBA. So that is the second one. Okay. ඒ කියන්නේ pH scale එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මතකයිද? මේ මැද තිබ්බා 7, that is neutral. මේ හරිය තිබ්බේ acids 0 ඉඳන් 6 වෙනකන් acids and then 8 ඉඳන් 14 වෙනකන් bases. So මේ හරිය තිබ්බා strong acids මේ හරිය තිබ්බා weak acids. මේ හරිය තිබ්බා weak bases. Neutral එක ළඟ කටිය weak. ඈතට යන්න යන acidic or basic. So මේ හරිය strong base. That is how the pH scale works, right? Okay, let's move on. A plant leaf with colors white and green while attached to the plant was set out as follows. බලමු මේකේ මේ එළිය කොටස white. මේ එළිය ටික white. ඊළඟට මැද ටික green. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකෙත් මෙන්න මෙහෙම across the leaf black paper එකකින් cover කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට මෙන්න මෙහෙම මේකෙන් තමයි පෙන්නන්නේ black blue color එක. You know මේක මේ leaf එක photosynthesis වෙන්න දාලා ඊට පස්සේ starch වලට test කරනවා. starch වලට test කරාම iodine දාලානේ කරන්නේ. එතකොට starch තියනවා නම් the iodine will give a black or blue color, right? Which one is the answer that you put? Which one is the answer you put? Okay. Definitely white color areas වල photosynthesis black paper එකෙන් cover වුණත් නැතත් white color areas වල photosynthesis වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Why? Why will photosynthesis not occur in the white areas? There is no chlorophyll. එහෙනම් මේක කොහොමත් වැරදි. මොකද මේ බන් මේ ටිකේ photosynthesis වෙලා. These are white areas නේන එක වැරදි. Second එකත් වැරදි. මොකද මේ කොටසෙත් photosynthesis වෙන්න බෑ because that is still white area. Third එක කොහොමත් වැරදි මේ. Third one is the correct answer. Fourth one is wrong. Third one is the correct answer. White color areas වල වෙලා නැහැ. Black paper එකෙන් cover වෙච්ච ටිකෙත් වෙලා නැහැ. Green color තිබ්බ expose වෙච්ච ටිකේ විතරයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. So third one is the correct answer. Yes. What is the option? මේ වගේ question එකක් Western province එකේ තිබ්බා but ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ පොඩ පටලවලා තිබ්බේ ඒ කියන්නේ මේකට මේ past paper question එක කරලා තිබ්බා නම් you have a bit of a knowledge to do that. නෑ ඒ question එකේ ඊටත් වඩා පැටලිලාද කොහෙද තිබ්බා. I can't remember what that question was. Did you all try doing the Western province one? By the way, Oneli has sent me the Sabaragamuwa paper. මට එක ළමෙක් try කරලා කිව්වා මේ Sabaragamuwa එක ටිකක් අමාරුයි කියලා. Let me send you that to the group now, otherwise I will forget. මම ඔයගලන්ට එව්වේ මොනවාද දැනට? Southern province එක ෆාතිමා එවලා තිබ්බා. Manisha has also sent me the Western province one. No, okay. Let me. Sorry, Northwestern province. This is Sabaragamuwa. මම උනලියුප්පකම තමයි තව මේ වෙන ළමයෙකුට යවලා මේ ඒ ළමයා කිව්වා එයා Southern province එක try කළා ඒක ටිකක් අමාරුයි කියලා කිව්වා. And then මම මේක යවුවට පස්සේ මේ එයා කිව්වා මේක Southern province එකට වඩා ටිකක් අමාරුයි කියලා. But I don't think she were able to try everything. She just tried a few essay questions. මම groups දෙකටම දැම්මා Saturday class Sunday class දෙකටම සබරගමු එක. මම North Western එකක් දාන්නම්. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් මේක ඩිස්කස් කරලා වැඩක් දුන්නාම North Western එකක් දාන්නම්. North Western එක නම් මම try කරේ නෑ බැලුවේ නැහැ තාම. Western province මෙහෙමයි provincial papers වල ළමයි ගොඩාක් complain කරනවා. මට කිව්වට ඒ කියන්නේ there's nothing I can do actually. That there are errors in the questions, some questions are difficult to understand. That is true. That is a very normal thing in provincial papers because I told you previously also, provincial papers are not the O-level standard. So there are like errors and differently can put a confusion questions, you know. Generally, O-level papers will have very rarely it could happen, but O-level papers will generally nahem. ඒකයි මම හැමලෙම O-level standard O-level pass papers ම කරන්නේ because that is the standard that we have to go for. But anyhow, Western province hari Sabaragamuwa, Southern, Northwestern, whatever, provincial papers කරාට කමක් නැහැ. ඒකෙන් අපිට මොනවා හරි දෙයක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ මම ඔයගලන්ට ඒ දැනට මට හම්බෙච්ච හතර තමයි ඔය. Western province එකයි Sabaragamuwai, Southern උයි Northwestern. Northwestern එක මම එවන්නම්. I think Manish you have sent me, no? I think you sent me මට මතකයි වගේ. Yes. ඒකත් මම යවන්න ළමයින්ට. එතකොට it's okay. මාක් කරාට කමක් නැහැ. Just send me. That would be okay. මොකද අර Western province එකත් මම එව්වේ ඒකත් මාක් කරපු පේපර් එකක්. ඒක ළමෙක් මට එව්ව එකක්. එයා මොකද ඔක්කොම exam ගිහපු කට්ටියනේ. ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලන් පේපර් එක obviously මාක් කරනවානේ. මම ඔයගොල්ලන් marking scheme එකක් එවන්නම්. ඒ හතරට වෙන වෙනම it's a marking scheme that I will make because මට marking scheme එකක් හම්බුන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එවන්නම්. එතකොට මේ ඒකෙන් correct කරගන්න. අමාරුව තිබ්බොත් class එකට ගේන we will discuss. Because tomorrow and day after Saturday and Sunday නේ අපේ Saturday Sunday classes දෙක as usual තියෙනවා. Okay. What is the option that correctly indicates all the species contained in aqueous solution of hydrochloric acid? Hydrochloric acid, you know, is a strong acid. Strong acid එකක main feature එක compared to a weak acid is that එයා completely ආගේ ions වලට කැඩෙනවා නේ. එයාව completely ආගේ ions වලට කැඩෙනවා. So if you take HCl, it will completely break down to H plus and Cl minus. So there will no longer be any HCl. HCl දැම්මට එයා completely කැඩෙන හින්දා HCl කියලා කෙනෙක් නැහැ. H plus and Cl minus ions තමයි ඉන්නේ. මෙතන HCl කියලා කෙනෙක් ඉන්න හින්දා first one cannot be the answer. ඊළඟට second එකෙත් HCl කියලා කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Second one cannot be the answer. Second නෙවෙයි third එක. Third one cannot be the answer because there's HCl. Fourth one cannot be the answer because there is HCl. එහෙනම් කියන්නේ එකක්වත් නැති එක second එකනේ. එහෙනම් second එක answer කියලා තමයි මෙතන අපි ගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද HCl is a strong acid. එයා completely ionized වෙනවා එයාගේ ions වලට. So HCl කියන කෙනා ඉන්න බෑ. එතන මේ හැම එකකම HCl ඉන්නවා except for the second answer. ඒකින්ද ඒක තමයි හරි answer එක. Anyhow, you might wonder what is OH minus doing here? OH minus is not an acid. මේක important ආ මේක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්නත් ඕනේ. OH minus කියන්නේ bases වල property එකක්. OH minus කොහොමද මෙතන ඉන්නේ? සාමාන්‍ය ළමයි ඕනම වෙලාවක water ගත්තොත් water is made up of H plus and OH minus ions නේ. එයා භාගයට කැඩිලා ඉන්නේ. Partially broken down to H plus and OH minus. Just water. So if you take just water, there is a bit of H plus, there's a bit of OH minus. But water is also there. මම චුට්ටයි කැඩලා තියෙන්නේ. Water වලින් පොඩ්ඩක් H plus and OH minus වලට කැඩිලා ඉතුරු ටික හැමම water විදිහට ඉන්නවා. එතන OH minus එක තමයි ඒගොල්ලන් මේ කියන්නේ මෙතන. OH minus කියලා. Otherwise acid එකෙන් ආපු OH minus නෙවෙයි. Acid එකෙන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන H plus and Cl minus. In addition to that, water වල චුට්ටක් කැඩිලා තියෙන. Water is also there. A little bit of water molecules will be broken down to H plus and OH minus. ඒකයි එතන OH minus තියෙන්නේ. Is that clear, lamai? Is that clear to you? Thumbs up, please, everybody. If you have questions, tell me. එතකම මාර Western Province question එක ගන්නම් ඒකේ. ඔහොම question එකක් තිබ්බා Western Province වල 12th question එක. So May 2018 paper ke neve Western Province ka, let me just put it here because similar idea, that's why. This is from Western Province. Okay. Here, which option correctly shows all the species present in an aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide? You know sodium hydroxide is a strong base. Since it is a strong base, it will completely break down to Na plus and OH minus ions. It is a strong base, so it will be completely broken down to Na plus and OH minus ions. So NaOH කෙනෙක් එතකොට ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. All NaOH will be broken to Na plus and OH minus. දැන් මම මෙතන NaOH ඉන්නවනේ. එහෙනම් මෙයා ආන්සර් එක වෙන්න බෑ. මොකද NaOH is a strong base. It won't be there as NaOH. It will be completely broken down. මෙතනත් NaOH ඉන්නවා. එහෙනම් එයාවත් ගන්න බෑ. So දැන් මම ඔයගලන්ට කලින් කියපු එක water in a tank වල water partially breakdowns, right? H plus and OH minus. Partial. එතන H plus චූට්ටක් ඉන්නවා. මම third answer එක Na plus. Okay, Na plus. OH minus. Okay, මෙතනත් water වෙනුත් OH minus චුට්ටක් එනවා. NaOH වලින් OH minus ගොඩක් එනවා. H plus. අර water වලින් චුට්ටක් H plus එනවා. Then water, H2O. H2O කොහොමද මෙතන ඉන්නවා. එහෙනම් the answer should be the third one. First one can anyways not be an answer. මොකද මේ O2 minus එහෙම අපි ගෙනගෙන නැහැ. Okay? So here the answer is the third one. Lamma, give me a second. Okay, Lamai. So let's move on to the next one. The total number of atoms in 1 mole of carbon dioxide molecules is. What is the answer for this one? What is the answer for this one? Yes? For the 21st one, what is the answer? Now I keep my camera closed for some time because Aramatu data sneezes, so it goes as a sequence. So I have to wait for a bit until it calms down and then I'll switch on the camera. Okay, others? Okay. Carbon dioxide gatto. Carbon dioxide wala 1 mole kiya, 1 mole wala. I mean, if you take carbon dioxide, let's say carbon dioxide 1 mole. That's what they're saying no. Itara carbon atoms ekak inna. If you take 1 molecule of carbon dioxide, there is 1 carbon atom. That means if you take 1 mole of carbon dioxide, there is 1 mole of carbon atoms. If you take one molecule of carbon dioxide, there are 2 oxygen atoms. Then if you take 1 mole of carbon dioxide molecules, there are 2 moles of oxygen atoms. Up atoms, molecules, atoms. So altogether, how many atoms are there? 1 plus 2, there are 3 moles of atoms. You know 1 mole is 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. And now 3 moles, now you have to multiply that by 3. So answer is the first one. Okay, next one. Hydrogen sulfide. Ogan monahari theory nati than theona kiyana lamaya. Otherwise, I'm moving forward. Hydrogen sulfide reacts with sulfur dioxide according to the following balanced chemical equation. The amount of moles of sulfur dioxide that reacts with 1 mole of hydrogen sulfide. What is the answer for this? Okay, others? Okay, others? හැමෝම කියන්නේ ඔයගලන් කරේ නැද්ද 2018 paper එක? Okay. Okay. මෙතන hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. If you take hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide, in hydrogen sulfide, the number at the front is 2. In sulfur dioxide, the number at the front is 1. That means if you take generally hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide අතරේ ratio එක, that is 2:1. 2:1. මෙතන amount of moles of sulfur dioxide that reacts with 1 mole of hydrogen sulfide. The hydrogen sulfide 1 mole තිබ්බොත්, now this is 2:1 නේ. එහෙනම් sulfur dioxide තියෙන්න ඕනේ 1/2. If hydrogen sulfide was 2, 1/2, sulfur dioxide is 1. If hydrogen sulfide is 1, then sulfur dioxide should be 0.5. So answer is the first one. Up to that point, is everything clear, Lamai? Okay. Let me get the rest of the questions for the whiteboard. 23rd again. By the way, biosphere recordings ටික අද එවන්නම් ඔක්කොම. Biosphere part 1 එක මම record කරලා තිබේ, part 2 එක record කරා ඊයේ. So now I have both the parts. So I will send them both today. අවසර වගේ වන්නම් එක. Okay, given here is a diagram of a plant cell. What are the parts indicated in it that are seen in animal cells as well? මොනවාද? Cell wall තියන animal cell එකේ. No. Chloroplast? No. Cytoplasm? Yes. Cell membrane? Cell membrane is the same as plasma membrane, so yes. And our answer is the fourth one. That is easy, no? Okay, great. Good. Consider the following statements about the compounds carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. They are acidic oxides. Sulfur dioxide කියන්නේ කොහොමද acidic oxide එක උගන්න මතක ඇති third period එකේ oxides වල acidic ද basic ද කියලා අපි කතා කරා. So මෙයා කොහොමද acidic. Carbon dioxide is also acidic ළමයි මොකද atmosphere ke carbon dioxide. Now if you take rain is actually slightly acidic. That is because the atmosphere has carbon dioxide. So rainwater, when it falls from the sky, falls from the clouds, it dissolves the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere. Therefore, rainwater is slightly acidic. A carbon dioxide is acidic, right? So carbon dioxide is acidic, sulfur dioxide is also acidic. So this is true. They exist as gases under room temperature. What do you think? Do they exist as gases at room temperature? Make it a product biosphere knowledge but I will explain it for now. Actually, they are both gases at room temperature. Make it a biosphere knowledge sulfur dioxide gas again biosphere lesson ke kata karno. So carbon dioxide is a gas at room temperature. Anyways, that we know. Sulfur dioxide is also a gas. They are both gases at room temperature. They are colorless. That is also true actually. Both of these gases are colorless. Meat colorless. Meat colorless. හැබැයි මෙයාගේ හරිම bad order එකක් තියෙනවා. ගඳක් තියෙනවා sulfur dioxide වල. ඒකේ carbon dioxide වලට නැහැ. Therefore, all A, B, C are true. This is here it's the fourth answer. In the following figure, A, B, and C are three beams of light. Using a glass lens, which one of these beams can be converted to another type of beam? Using a glass lens, one of these beams can be converted into another type of beam that is shown in the diagram. A to B using a convex lens. So A කියන්නේ parallel රේඛා. A කියන්නේ parallel light රේඛා. ඒව B කරන්න පුළුවන්ලු B කියන්නේ converging using a convex lens. Convex lens එකේ මෙව converge කරන්න පුළුවන්ලු. What do you think? That is true, ne? ඒක නම් හරි වගේ. So that should probably be the answer. A to B කරන්න පුළුවන් concave එකකින් එහෙමනම් බෑ. A concave එකක් දැම්මොත් this is A no, this is B. Concave එකක් දැම්මොත් මෙයා diverge වෙනවා. That would be A to C. B to A using a convex lens. B to A using a convex lens, no. C to A using a concave lens, no. Answer is the first one. Okay, last those three questions, did you understand, Lamai? Give me a thumbs up. Everybody. Thumbs up back, then you have a question. Then you have to ask the question. Ashwini, is it clear? Okay. 26th. Consider an instance where a convex lens is used to read a label with very small letters. Here label should be placed. So, I'm sorry. So, convex lens එකක් මෙහෙම පොඩි letters read කරන්න use කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ it should be like the application should be like a magnifying glass, ne? Can you all draw the ray diagram related to this? When I make it a related ray diagram, I'll give you like 2 minutes. Quickly draw the ray diagram related to this. using a convex lens to read a label with very small letters. ඔගාන ගැලපෙන තැනින් object එක තියලා හරියට image එක form කරන්න. Make it fast. One more minute. Okay. මෙහෙමද ඇන්ද කියලා බලන්න. ඔහොම තියෙනවා. Let's say this is our lens. So you know this is a convex lens, right? So let's say this is a focal point and this is twice the focal point, or f dash. Here this is the focal point. Here this is twice the focal point. So object එක කොහෙද place කරේ? Where did you place the object? Alamai, where did you place the object? Quickly tell. Do we place it between the lens and the focal point, or on the focal point, or between focal point and 2F, or on 2F, or beyond 2F? Object එක කොතනද place කරන්න ඕනේ? Yes, I got the answers in the chat box here. Between the lens and the focal point. එතකොට කොහොමද අපේ rays හැදෙන්නේ, image එක හැදෙන්නේ? You know, parallel යන light ray එක light ray එක focal point එක through reflect වෙනවා. Like this. Then optical center එක through යන ray එක ඒ path එකෙම යනවා. Something like this. ඔගන් පොතේ අදනට මට බෝඩ් එක අඳින එක ලේසි. ඔන්නෝමනේ තියෙන්නේ. You can see the refracted light rays, they don't meet at the front. So you extend these to the back. මේක පිටිපස්සට extend කරලා බලන්න ඕනේ. So මේ ray එක extend කරාම පිටිපස්සට would be something like this. May refracted light ray ka pitipasa extend karama would be something like this. So this is where they meet. This is where the image is formed. It's a virtual image. It's a larger image and it is upright. ඒකයි අපි magnifying glass එකේ පේනවම අපිට ලොකුවට පේනවා, right? And magnifying glass එක ඇතුලෙන් පේනවනේ. We don't have to use like a white screen. ඇතුලෙන් පේනවා කියන්නේ it's a virtual image. So answer is the first one. ඒක තේරුණාද හැමෝටම? Give me a thumbs up. Light අනිවාර්යෙන් හොඳට බලා ගන්න. Light කියන එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ light lesson එක වැඩි බලන්නෙම කියන්නේ ඔයා කරන අඩුයි ඒක. I don't know why. Others, is it clear? Okay. Some features observed when an animal was examined are as follows. 4 pentadactyl limbs, has a glandular skin, has a broad mouth and cold-blooded. That's easy. What is it? Toad. Glandular skin එකක් නම් crocodile වෙන්නත් බෑ, tortoise වෙන්නත් බෑ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන් reptiles. Otter කියන්නේ mammal කෙනෙක්, so it is cold-blooded නෙවෙයි warm-blooded, right? Okay. A tightly stoppered, ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳට fix කරලා තියෙන වහලා තියෙන half-filled bottle of soda water was taken out from a refrigerator and kept outside until it reaches the room temperature. When kept like this, mole fraction of carbon dioxide මේ phases A B කියන්නේ මොනවාද? A කියන්නේ මෙතන තියෙන gas space එක නේ. I can hear there is empty space means there is gases in A. B එක කියන්නේ මේ liquid soda water තියෙන phase එක. So අපෙන් අහන්නේ carbon dioxide mole fraction එක. කියන්නේ the amount of carbon dioxide present මොකද වෙන්නේ? A වලයි B වලයි. What do you think? What is your answer? Okay, ගොඩක් අය දාලා තියෙන third dance එක. We'll see. So refrigerator වල the temperature is very low. But when you take it out and keep it at room temperature, the temperature increases. When temperature increases, what happens to the solubility of a gas? Temperature එක වැඩි වෙනවනේ refrigerator ඉඳන් අපි එළියට ආන room temperature එක තියෙද්දි. So what happens to the gas? Sorry, what happens to the solubility of a gas? Yes. Temperature වැඩි වෙනකොට solubility of a gas අඩු වෙනවා. That means the amount of that gas dissolved in a liquid අඩු වෙනවා. Pressure වැඩි වෙනකොට what happens to the solubility of a gas? Yes, pressure වැඩි වෙනකොට solubility of gas වැඩි වෙනවා. එතකොට when you increase the pressure, more gas will dissolve in a liquid. But if you increase the pressure, so temperature, solubility of a gas decreases. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා රත් කරාම gas එක liquid එකේ dissolve වෙලා තියෙන්නේ නැහැ. Now මෙයාව refrigerate in a room temperature ගත්ත කියන්නේ temperature was increased. So solubility අඩු වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන B එකේ dissolve වෙලා තිබ්බ carbon dioxide A වලට යනවා. ඇයි solubility අඩු වෙනවනේ. එහෙනම් A වල carbon dioxide වැඩි වෙනවා, B වල carbon dioxide අඩු වෙනවා. So it is the third answer. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. In respiration, if you have questions, ask. Otherwise, I'm going to move forward. In respiration of living organisms, oxygen gas and carbon dioxide gas exchange at the respiratory surface. Accordingly, the respiratory surface of human is alveolar wall. So, AK respiratory surface එක කිව්වම lungs ගන්න බෑ. Lungs ගන්නත් බෑ, alveolus එක ගන්නත් බෑ. මොකද alveolus එකේ there are other components as well. The exact surface is alveolar wall. So that is alveolar wall. Up to that point, is everything clear? Give me a thumbs up, please. Michele, Muni, Batula, Senet, Setumini, Chanusha. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, now let's move on to the next questions. 29th ka make ne? Okay, 30th. Okay. The Lewis structures of the hydrides of three elements X, Y, Z are given below. Which element in the table are represented by X, Y, Z? What is the answer? Okay. මේක ගන්න ලේසිම ලේසි විදියක් තියෙනවා. විදියක් කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි තියෙන විදිය. Otherwise මේව වෙන වෙනම ඇඳ මොකද්ද කියකේ එහෙම බලන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. If you look at EZ, you know හැමලේම ඕන කෙනෙක් හයිඩ්‍රජන් එක බොන්ඩ් එකක් හදනවා කියන්නේ එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකයි ෂෙයා කරන්නේ. Hydrogen, because hydrogen also has one electron. මේ Z කියන එක්කෙනාට එළියේ Z must have 4 electrons. Z electrons 4ක් තිබ්බ හින්දා නේ hydrogen එක bonds 4ක් ඇදුවේ. එහෙනම් outermost energy level එකේ electrons 4ක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. If you take carbon, carbon ගේ electronic configuration එක මොකද්ද? 2 4. එහෙනම් Z should be carbon because carbon is the one with 4 electrons in the outermost energy level. Z should be carbon. So මෙතන carbon දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවනේ බලමු අනිත් අය. Y ගත්තොත් එහෙම yes. Y වල outermost energy level එකේ මෙතන lone pair එකක් තියෙනවා. So මෙතන 1 2 and මෙතන bond හදන්නත් එයා තුන් දෙනෙක් contribute කරලා තියෙනවානේ. 3 4 5. Then Y is something where the outermost energy level should have 5 electrons. And that should be nitrogen because nitrogen ගේ electronic configuration එක 2 5. X ගත්තොත් 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then there should be 6 electrons in the energy, outermost energy level, and that should be oxygen because oxygen ke configuration like a 2 6. So the answer is yes, it is a second answer. Okay, let's move on. A small glass ball and a big iron ball were dropped onto a porcelain surface from the same height. Glass එක කුයි අයන් බෝල් එකකුයි දෙන්නම එකම height එකේ ඉඳන් drop කරනවා. The porcelain surface cracked at the point at which the iron ball hit it. Iron ball එක වැදිච්ච තැන crack වෙලා. No such crack was caused by the glass ball. Of the following, greatness of which quantity of the iron ball than that of the glass ball could be the reason for this? What is the answer? Yes. ළමයි හැම වෙලේම මතක තියාගන්න impact දැන් මෙතන අපි impact එකනේ බලන්නේ. If you take the glass ball එක drop කරපු තැන crack එකක් වෙලා නැහැ කියන්නේ එයාගේ impact එක අඩුයි. But iron ball එක drop කරපු තැන ඒකේ crack එකක් වෙලා කියන්නේ එයාගේ impact එක වැඩි. So we're talking about impact. When we are talking about impact, what we must talk about is momentum. Momentum කියන්නේ ඕනම දෙයක් move වෙන object එකක් with a mass. Move වෙන object එකක් with a mass කියන්නේ that object has a mass, that object has a velocity. You can calculate the momentum. How do you calculate momentum? Mass multiplied by velocity. ඒක තමයි මේ object එක කොහේ හරි වැදුනොත් හරි කවුරු අල්ල ගන්නවා නම් මොකක් හරි impact එක. Right? So here the answer is momentum. Acceleration අපි දන්නේ නැහැ, volume දන්නේ නැහැ, velocity අපි දන්නේ නැහැ. But we know for sure that momentum of the iron ball is higher than the momentum of the glass ball. So ගොඩක්ම momentum වෙන්න පුළුවන් reason එක තමයි because iron ball has a higher mass, right? What can you say about the velocity of these two? Glass ball එකයි iron ball එකයි එකම height එකෙන් තමයි drop කරන්නේ. So when these two falls onto the surface, to the porcelain surface, what can you say about the velocity? කාගේ velocity එකද වැඩි ඇත්තේ? As you think. Which one has a higher velocity, glass or iron, as you think? Okay, I'm getting two answers as glass. Others? So දැන් මේ දෙනම එකම height එකකින් drop කරන්නේ එකම porcelain surface එකට වැටෙන්නේ. හිතන්න දැන් දෙකම මෙහෙම වැටෙද්දී if it was the same time සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ළමයි acceleration මේ දෙන්නගම එකයිනේ. It is a gravitational acceleration for both of these, right? Both of these, it's a gravitational acceleration. So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ දෙන්නම එකම වගේ velocity එකකින් තමයි වැටෙන්නේ. Because it's the same gravitational acceleration, they both have the same acceleration, they both have an initial velocity of 0, right? So even the time taken should be similar. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yes, as we were discussing, so there's a glass ball, there's an iron ball. So අපි මොකද කතා කරන හිටියේ කාගේද velocity වැඩි කියලා. ළමයි, there is a thing in physics. මේක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එච්චර ලොකුට syllabus එකට ඕනේ නැහැ, as long as you know momentum, that is more than enough. But සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඕනිම mass එකක ඕනිම object එකක් ඕනිම size එකක object එකක් drop කරාම එකම height එකකින්, or they all will take the same amount of time. එකම height එකකින් නම් දාන්නේ ලොකු object එකක් වුණත් පොඩි object එකක් වුණත් mass එක වැඩි object එකක් වුණත් mass එක අඩු object එකක් වුණත් everything will take the same amount of time if they are dropped from the same height to the same surface. So that is a thing in physics. එකම time එක තමයි යන්නේ. So glass ගත්තොත් now acceleration is also the same. Final velocity තමයි අපි හොයන්නේ. Initial velocity is 0 divided by time. එහෙනම් එතකොට final velocity will be now මෙතන 0 නේ, 0 වැඩක් නැහැ. t එක එහා පැත්තට ගෙනිච්චාම a multiplied by t. So glass වල velocity එක a multiplied by t. If you take iron, again acceleration is gravitational acceleration. Final velocity තමයි හොයන්න ඕනේ. Initial velocity is 0, time again the same time. Here also v minus 0 is the same as v. t වමන් එහා පැත්තට ගෙනිච්චාම a multiplied by t. දැන් බලන්න මේ දෙන්නගේම velocity එක a multiplied by t. එහෙනම් මේ දෙන්නගේ final velocity එකත් equal. Velocity මෙයාගේ equal. එහෙනම් momentum වෙනස් වුනේ මොකෙන්ද? Because of the mass. You know momentum is mass into velocity නේ. So දෙන්නගේම velocity equal කියලා කියන්නේ mass එකකින් හින්දා තමයි momentum වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Of course the iron ball is much more heavier than the glass ball. So ඒක එච්චර දුර හිතුවේ නැතත් මොකද කියන්න බෑනේ. ඔයගලන්ගේ දැන් February exam එකේ they might take it a bit to like an advanced level. මේක චුට්ටක් මේ වගේ question එක අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ, right? But here කොහොමද iron ball එකේ crack එක ආවේ, glass ball එකෙන් crack එක ආවේ නැහැ. So definitely it's the momentum. Okay, let's move on. 32. Up to this point, do you all have any questions or is everything clear, Lamai? All clear up to this point? Okay. 32. As shown in the figure, water is filled to the same height from level X in 3 tanks A, B, C, which are different in breadth. Water tamai tiye. What can you say about the pressure at A, pressure at B, and pressure at C? What is the correct answer here? It's the same liquid, right? Same liquid, same level, same height. And මෙතනත් බලන්න මේ depth එක එකයි. මෙයාගේ depth එකත් එක. You know pressure equals H rho G නේ. Pressure equals H rho G. So if you look at these 3 instances, අපි මම මෙතන වෙනම ලියනම් පැත්තෙන්, you know pressure is always equal to H rho G. බලන්න gravitational acceleration is always anyways the same, no? Gravitational acceleration is same. මේ තුනේම තියෙන water නේ. එහෙනම් density is same. දැන් height එක බලන්න, vertical height or the depth. මෙයාගේ තියෙන එකම depth එක, මෙයාගේ තේ depth එකමයි, මෙයාගේ තේ depth එකමයි. එහෙනම් height එකත් equal. එහෙනම් pressure should be equal. එහෙනම් answer is the 4th one. Number of electrons and number of neutrons in the iron indicated by the symbol Na plus respectively. What is the answer? Okay, let's see. Plus එක අයින් කරන්න. Sodium atom එක ගමු. Now the atomic number is 11 no. Atomic number 11. Atomic number එක 11 කියලා කියන්නේ protons with 11. Protons 11. And you know protons and electrons are equal, so electrons is also 11. Neutrons කොහොමද හොයන්නේ? You know 23 is the mass number. Mass number කියන්නේ protons plus neutrons, right? Protons plus neutrons the mass number එකනේ. දැන් මෙතන mass number එක 23, protons are 11, එහෙනම් ඔයාලට neutrons හොයන්න පුළුවන්. So neutrons would be 23 minus 11, that would be 12. And neutrons is 12. If you take this one, Na1123, there's a charge plus. Protons gana venas wenna. Whatever the charge it is, the number of protons will not change. It will be 11. Electrons මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Now how many electrons are here? How many electrons are here? ළමයි plus charge එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ එයාගේ එක electron එකක් අයින් වෙලා. plus එකක් එනවා කියන්නේ minus එකක් අයින් වෙච්ච හින්දා. නැත්නම් plus minus balance වෙලානේ තියෙන්නේ. එක minus එකක් අයින් වෙච්ච ගමන් balance එක නැති වෙලා it will get a plus charge. So now electrons are 10. Neutrons වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ, and it's in the nucleus, so that will still be 12. බලන්න protons වල charge එක plus, so 11 protons means plus 11. Electrons වල charge එක minus, so 10 electrons means minus. So plus 11 minus 10 කියන්නේ total charge එක plus 1. ඒක තමයි මෙතන මේ plus 1 කියලා අවිලා තියෙන්නේ. And electrons are 10 and neutrons 12. So this is the answer. Okay. Let's move on. We have 7 more questions to discuss. Okay. If you take the 34th one, what characteristic given below should be studied to distinguish living and non-living? Sorry, distinguish as living and non-living. The specimens: fertilized egg, a piece of meat, a bean seed obtained before germination, and a dry piece of a branch of a plant. What are your answers? What are your answers? Okay. Others also put your answers quickly. Yes. Others, I got some answers in the chat box. What do others think? Growth ගත්තොත් මොකද හිතන්නේ? If you take growth, what do you think? Can we get growth here? ළමයි growth ගත්තොත් මොකද හිතන්නේ? Is growth ideal here? So if you take growth, there is going to be a problem, right? අපිට හරියටම කියන්න අමාරුයි මොකද if you take a fertilized egg එක grow වෙනවා. Piece of meat grow වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Bean seed එකක් before germination it shows growth, but it is a very slow growth. Dry piece of a branch of a plant, it won't show any growth. මෙතන දැන් මේ fertilized egg එකයි bean seed එකයි මෙතන living දෙන්න. I mean, as far as we know, මෙයා living, bean seed එක living. Neither. And piece of meat, not, it's non-living. Dry piece of a branch is also non-living. It's a fertilized egg එකයි bean seed එකයි අපිට පෙන්නනවා growth එක, but අනිත් දෙකේ පෙන්නන්නේ නැහැ. However, there is going to be a problem. What is it? It is that අපිට හරියට growth එකක් බලන්න අමාරුයි bean seed එකේ because it is obtained before germination. A seed before germination, what do we call that seed? A seed before germination, what do we call it? What do we call a seed? So the seed is there, but it has not germinated yet. What do we call? A dormant seed, right? Dormant seed එකක් කියන්නේ seed එක තියෙනවා එයා germinate වෙලා නැහැ because the conditions are not satisfied for it to germinate. මගිලා පාඩම් කරගන්න. ඒකින්ද bean seed එක අපිට growth එක එච්චර පේන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Growth, because it has not germinated yet. Therefore, we can't see a growth. The growth කියන එක එච්චර හරියන එකක් නෙවෙයි. Reproduction උත් එච්චර හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද fertilized egg එක you can see fertilized egg එක you can't see reproduction. Reproduction කියන්නේ අලුත් generation එකක් හදන එකනේ. මේ fertilized egg එක හරි bean seed එක හරි අපිට එකපාරට reproduction බලන්න අමාරුයි නේ. Because that is production of an entire new generation. So that is not very suitable. Cellular organization ගත්තොත් the problem is meat fertilized egg එකේ cellular organization එකක් තියෙනවා. Bean seed එකේ cellular organization එකක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි meat එකේ cellular organization තියෙනවා. Dry piece of a branch වලක් තියෙනවා. Even though meat and dry branch, they are non-living, they came from living organisms. Right? Meat, if you take meat, let's say chicken, right? ඒක non-living වුණාට ඒක ආවේ සතෙක්. Pork or beef or whatever. Even if you take a dry branch, it came from a plant. So ඒක ඇතුලේ cells තියෙනවා. The cells may not be active, but cells are there. Cellular organization you can see. The cellular organization ගැලපෙන්නේත් නැහැ. හරියන්නේ respiration. අපිට short time එකකින් හරියට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් respiration. Because fertilized egg එකක් it definitely does respiration. Bean seed එකක්, even though it has not germinated yet, it will still respirate. Piece of meat will not respirate. Dry piece of a branch will not respirate. අපි most suitable එකනේ බලන්න ඕනේ, the most appropriate answer. So the most appropriate answer would be respiration. Is it clear, Lamai? Shall we move on? Others? Okay. An electric lamp bulb of a motor car is labeled 12 volts, 0.5 amperes. Consider the following statements about those values. When an electrical supply of 12 volts is given across the bulb, the current flowing. Okay. So this is what we know. Voltage එක තියෙනවා, current එක තියෙනවා. Right? එහෙනම් we know equation P equals VI. මම දන්න ටික හදාගෙන යනවා. So power can, now voltage is 12 volts, current is 0.5 amperes. So මේ දෙක multiply කරාම අපිට power එක එනවා watt වලින්. ඔන්න multiply කරලා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. So 12 multiplied by 0.5 watt කියලා මම නිකම් මෙහෙම තියන්න. එහෙනම් B කියන sentence එක හරි. When the bulb operates normally, its power is 12 multiplied by 0.5. තව අපි දන්නවා V equals IR. So voltage is 12 volts, current is 0.5 amperes. Resistance එක දන්නේ නැහැ. Then resistance is 0.5 එහා පැත්තකින් ශ්‍රම division වෙනවා. 12 divided by 0.5 ohm. එහෙනම් C හරි. ඒ බලන්න. මේ බල්බ් එකේ ගහලා තියෙනවා 12 volt 0.5 amperes කියලා. එහෙනම් ඒත් හරිනේ. A is when a voltage of 12 volts is given, the current is 0. A is also creates the connection of 1, 5, 12 ohm resistors so that the equivalent resistance between A and B is 4 amperes. 4 amperes when on equivalent resistance. Okay. අපි බලමු first instance එක. First එකේ උඩ 1 and 5 amperes ohm. 1 and 5 ohm දෙන්න series combination එකෙන් තමයි combine වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් ඒ දෙන්නගේ equivalent resistance කියලා කියන්නේ මේ දෙන්නගේ equivalent resistance is 6 ohm. එහෙනම් මේක අපිට 1 over R equals 1 over 6 plus 1 over 12. So common denominator ගන්න මම මෙයාව 2 ගෙන් multiply කරනවා මෙයාව 2 ගෙන් multiply කරනවා I get 1 times 2 is 2 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 over 12. So 1 over R equals 2 plus 1 is 3 over 12. We do the cross multiplication. 3 times R 1 times 12 is 12. Divide both sides by 3. So R equals 12 divided by 3, 4 ohm. එතනම 4 ohm ආවනේ. එහෙනම් answer is the first one. අනිතේවත් කැමති නම් කරලා බලන්න. But first එක කරද්දිම ඔයගන්ට answer එක 4 ohm කියලා එනවා. So that should be the answer. Is that clear? Others? Everybody. Ashwini, Batula, Disal, Dusindi, Imasha, Micheli, Muni, Sanuli, Senet, Tenumi, Chanusha. This 2018 paper is comparatively a bit more towards the difficult side. 2018 paper ka අනිත් papers වලට comparatively ටිකක් අමාරුයි. හැබැයි අපි දැන් discuss කරගෙන යද්දී ඔයගන්ට තේරෙන්නේ නැති it's not that difficult. It's just that some questions are a bit more confusing. චුර හිතන්න තියෙනවා අනිත් papers වලට වඩා. Okay, 37. The diaphragm illustrates a cross-section across the bund close to the sluice of a valve. What is the structure constructing to reduce the speed of water? Make a biosphere වල කොටසක්. මොකද biosphere වල තියෙනවා එක කොටසක් where we learn about the traditional irrigation techniques. So when we are talking about traditional irrigation techniques, you know the valve or the tank built by ancient kings in Sri Lanka. It is very highly advanced compared to even modern technology. Even now it is a question. People are still amazed by the amount of technology people in those days had. මොකද ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් මේක ගොඩාක් කාලයකට කලින්නේ, right? So එතනදී මේකේ ආන්සර් එක දැන් දාගන්න මම අද biosphere recordings එක එවුවාම it will be clear to you. It is actually බිසෝ කොටුව. බිසෝ කොටුව තමයි ආන්සර් එක. බිසෝ කොටුව කියලා කියන්නේ C. C is the answer. මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ නිකන් කියන්න ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ sluice gate එක sluice කියන එක දන්නව නේද? sluice කියන්නේ වාන්. sluice gate එක කියන්නේ වාන් දොරටුව. එතකොට ඔය දැන් පහුගිය දවස් අපිට flood situation එකක් තිබ්බානේ දිත්වක හින්දා. So එතකොට when the tank was overflowing, it was very filled. ඒකින්ද sluice gate එක ඇරියා. වාන්දොරටු ඇරියා. එතකොට water එතනින් එළියට යනවා. යද්දී මෙහෙම එක දිගට එළියට ගියොත් එහෙම ලොකු pressure එකක් create ඒකින්ද බිසෝ කොටුවෙන් කරන්නේ මේ යන වතුර ටික මෙතන උඩට ගිහිල්ලා මෙතන ටිකක් පාඩු වෙනවා. නැත්නම් high pressure එකකින් එහෙම පල්ලෙහාට ගියොත් එහෙම පල්ලෙහා areas වලත් I mean දැන් මෙහෙම ගඟක් විදිහටනේ පල්ලෙහාට යන්නේ. So in those areas near the river banks there are people, there are houses, there may be cultivation. So all of that will be destroyed. Local pressure එකක් ලොකු speed එකකින් ගියොත්. That is why Bisokoto controls the speed and the pressure. Anyways, you will understand that when you watch the recording. Some activities carried out after felling trees in a forest. Again, this is biosphere. May hataram biosphere. Some activities carried out after felling trees in a forest are given below. Among them, which one contributes most to increase carbon dioxide percentage in the atmosphere in a short period of time? මෙතන ළමයි carbon dioxide percentage එක short period of time වලින් වැඩි කරන්න කවුද කියන්නේ අහන්නේ. ඔයා forest එකක් කපලා එතන vegetable crops හිටෙව්වා කියලා ඒක environment එකට හොඳ දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ළමයි හිතන් ඉන්නවා you are in a misconception that let's say there is a forest. හොඳ forest එකක් තියෙනවා සත්තු ඉන්නවා හැමෙම forest එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ගස් ටික විතරක් නෙවෙයි. forest එක කියලා කියන්නේ ගස් ටික විතරක් නෙවෙයි, it's the trees, the bushes, ඒ විතරක් නෙවෙයි. එක එක trees එක එක height වලට තියෙනවානේ. සමහර trees ටික ලොකුයි, then මෙහෙම තියෙනවා, then මෙහෙම තියෙනවා, then there are bushes. මේ මෙහෙම එක එක heights වල එක එක layers වලින් තියෙනවා. So that is also very important in a forest. forest එක නිකන් ගස් ටිකක් විතරක් randomly තියෙනක විතරක් නෙවෙයි. ගස් කොහොමද structure වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, the different heights of trees, then the shades, then how sunlight is falling, then also the animals in there, the microorganisms, then how they interact with each other. All of this is very important for the forest. Or එක කපලා vegetable crops ටිකක් හිටෙවුවා කියලා ඒ forest එකේ තියෙන quality එක ගන්න බෑ. කෙනෙක්ට කියන්න බෑ okay so vegetable crops ටික කපලා forest එක කපලා I planted vegetable crops. They're still plants. There should not be a problem. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. vegetable crops ටිකක් හිටෙවුවා කියලා forest quality එක එන්නේ නැහැ. Definitely. හැබැයි එහෙමයි කියලා දැන් I mean the carbon dioxide percentage එකපාරට වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So ඒකින්ද ඒක ගන්න බෑ මේකට answer එකක් විදියට. Letting cut down parts decompose naturally. ඒතනත් carbon dioxide ටිකක් environment එකට එනවා. Give me a second. මෙතනත් carbon dioxide ටිකක් atmosphere එකට add වෙනවා. However, ඒක naturally වෙන්නේ. So සාමාන්‍යයෙන් decomposition naturally වෙනකොට it takes a lot of time. So carbon dioxide will be added to the atmosphere very slowly. Using parts of timber for construction, not really, not much. It's a bad thing, but it doesn't contribute to increase the carbon dioxide percentage. Answer is a fourth one. So whatever the cut down parts, when you start burning it, combustion burning කියන්නේ carbon dioxide ගොඩක් atmosphere එකට යනවා. එතනදී ගොඩක් carbon dioxide will be released to the atmosphere within a short period of time. මේවා එක එක තැන්වල biosphere වල තනින් තන තියෙන parts. එතකොට again you will have to wait till we watch the recording. It has been planned to hold a conference in Sri Lanka. So ළමයි conferences ගැන ටිකක් තියෙනවා biosphere වල. එතකොට in this particular case they are talking about now you know if you take the world compared to back in the older days, now most of the countries, along with the UN. UN can United Nations ne. United Nations with local contribution කරනවා countries එක එකතු කරලා environment පැත්තට මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ගොඩක් actions ගන්නවා ඒකේ conferences තියෙනවා එහෙම. So එතකොට in different countries in different years there are like conferences, like big meetings. Conferences are big meetings where agents from different countries will come and participate, and they discuss what they can do to conserve the ecosystem or the environment. එක එක පැතිවල ඉන්නේ environment එක්කම animals බලන්න පුළුවන්, plants බලන්න පුළුවන්, global warming වලට මොනවද කරන්න කියලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. Ozone layer එක දැන් deplete වෙනවා, especially above Australia there's a huge gap of ozone layer which is depleted. So ඔයගලන් the general knowledge biosphere කරේ නැතත් ඔයගලන් දන්නවානේ ozone layer එකෙන් කරන්නේ sun ගෙන් එන harmful UV rays will be filtered. So we don't get those. But එකයි Australia වල skin cancers වැඩි. මොකද අර UV rays එනවා. මොකද ozone layer එක damage වෙලා. Then ozone layer එක protect කරන්න wetlands අහලා තියෙනවද? Wetlands කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ වගුරු. වගුරු වගේ වගුරු කියලා කියන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ සිංහල conversion එක සිංහල translation එක wetlands වලට. So if you are in Colombo or if you have visited Colombo, ඔයගලන් දැකලා ඇති බැද්දේගාන දියවන්නා මේ ඔක්කොම වගුරු wetlands. Wetlands are like අර සිංහරාජ වගේ තමයි wetlands. Okay, සිංහරාජ වගේ තමයි wetlands are also very important. wetlands protect කරන්න ඒ වගේ එක එක ඒවාට මේ වගේ conferences තියෙනවා. ඒ conferences වල ඒගොල්ලන් discuss කරලා එක එක decisions ගන්නවා. Right, they discuss, they talk about different aspects and they take decisions. Based on those decisions we come up with conventions. ඒ කියන්නේ ඊපස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන් ඒවා හරියට type කරලා හරියට document එකකට අරගෙන මෙන්න මේ විදිහට වෙන්න ඕනි කියලා they finalize. Okay, so let me add one more thing here. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ලෝකෙ කිසිම රටක ගොඩක් urban areas වල, especially like රටක capital එක කියන්නේ it's probably the most urbanized area ne. Now in Sri Lanka our capital is Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte and the commercial capital is Colombo, right? එතකොට Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte and Colombo they are very close to each other ne. එතකොට අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම these we are talking about the highly urbanized areas. ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳටම urbanized වෙලා. සිංහලෙන් urbanized means නාගරීකරණය. ඒ කියන්නේ it's like a city. It's the city. පොඩි towns වගේ නෙවෙයි, it's a proper city with buildings, with like hospitals, banks, all of that. අඩියෙන් අඩිය තියෙනවා. එහෙම හරිම urbanized. ඒතර ලෝකේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට if you take highly urbanized areas there are no wetlands or like forest ඒ වගේ දේවල් නැහැ වැඩිය. මොකද urbanized කියලා කියන්නේ buildings, concrete, all of that no. But the only country in the world where a wetland is situated in the capital is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka වල ලොකුම ලොකු wetland එකක් තියෙනවා කොළඹ වල. ඒ wetland එකට දියවන්නා අයිති, බැද්දේගාන අයිති, ඒ දියත ඒ line එක, and then what's that? So ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් ඒවා අයිති වෙනවා. Okay, so that is actually the only country in the world where there is a wetland in the capital of the country. So that is something that we have to be very proud of. That is something a lot of children don't know. So some of you may also don't know. Now only you got to know. ඒතර ඔයගන්නේ හොයලා බලන්න මොනවාද wetlands කියන්නේ කියලා. Wetlands කියන්නේ අර වතුරත් එක්ක associate වෙලා තියෙන forest වගේ areas. They are very very important. සමහර වෙලාවට අර සිංහරාජ වලටත් වඩා important wetlands. Anyways, now let's come back to the question. Convention or treaty dealing with regulations related to the trade of endangered plants and animals. Endangered plants and animals කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි හැම country එකකම තියෙනවා extinct වෙන්න ළඟ කට්ටිය. Now if you take in China there was a problem where the pandas were going towards extinction. Extinction කියන්නේ ඒ species එක නැති වෙලා යනවා. Right, එතකොට extinction වෙන ළඟ කට්ටියට අපි කියන endangered. So they are in a dangered position. අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ව protect කරේ නැත්නම් ඒගොල්ලන් වඳ වෙලා යනවා. වඳ වෙනවා. That is the singular word for that. extension එකේ සිංහල word එක වන්ද වෙලා යනවා. එතකොට some people they illegally trade endangered plants and animals. Even in Sri Lanka there are certain animals which are endangered. There are different plants also which are endangered. මේවා හොරෙන් නැව් වලින් හරි aeroplanes වලින් හරි පිටරටවල වලට යවනවා. පිටරටවල වලට විතරක් නෙවෙයි even in the same country trade කරනවා. right සල්ලි වලට විකුණනවා හොරෙන් කඩන් ඇවිල්ලා සල්ලි වලට විකුණනවා. plant එකක් හරි හොරෙන් අරන් ඇවිල්ලා සල්ලි වලට විකුණනවා. ඒ වගේ trades they are illegal. okay එතකොට ඒක ගැන rules and regulations එක convention එකක් තිබ්බා that is actually CITES. The answer is CITES. එතනදි තමයි කියන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම මේ විදිහට කරන්න ඕනේ මේ විදිහට කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ එහෙම කියලා CITES එකේ තමයි ඩිස්කස් කරන්නේ. රම්සා කියන එක තියෙන්නේ wetlands වලට. ඕන එක ලියා ගන්න ඕගොල්ලන්. Ramsar is for wetlands. Ramsar is for wetlands, to protect wetlands. Montreal තියන්නේ ozone layer ගැන ozone layer එකට related. So you know there are so many substances that we consume and that we release on a day-to-day basis that goes to the atmosphere and they go and destroy the ozone layer. Montreal Protocol okay and the Montreal වලදී කරන්නේ Montreal is in Canada no so එතකොට එහෙදි තමයි මේක කතා වුනේ. So එතනදී කතා වෙලා what they came up was that the ozone layer has to be protected. For that the substances that go and damage the ozone layer should not be released. එතකොට ඒකට අදාළ දේවල් තමයි Montreal එකේ කතා කරන්නේ. CITES එකේ of course trade එක endangered plants and animals trade කරන එක නවත්තන්න තමයි CITES තියෙන්නේ. Then Rio තියන්නේ let me check Rio. What is Rio protocol for? I will quickly check and let you know just to confirm. Yes. Rio ka මම බලලා කියන්න ළමයි. Can't remember what the Rio protocol was for. ඒක මම බලලා කියන්නම්. But anyways here the answer is CITES. CITES is what protects endangered plants and animals. Okay. Lastly, 40th question. Reduce, reuse, recycle are 3 out of the principles used in waste and energy management. Biosphere කරේ නැත්තත් ඔයගලන් දන්නවනේ. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours කී තියන්නේ. So reduce කියලා කියන්නේ ඔයගලන් environment එකට harm කරනවා use කරන එක අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ. Like polythene, ඊට පස්සේ plastics, ඊට පස්සේ anything else like chemical substances එහෙම අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ පුළුවන් තරම්. Reuse කියලා කියන්නේ එකම දේ ආයෙ use කරනවා. Let's say for an example you go to a supermarket, you buy everything and you get them in shopping bags, polythene bags. So ඒ polythene bags එක ගෙදර අරන් ඇවිල්ලා නවලා තියලා ඊළඟ පාරත් ඒකම use කරනවා. ඒතර ඔයගලන්ට කීල්ස් එකට අරන් යන්න පුළුවන් අර use කරපු polythene bags. එතනින් polythene bags ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. So that is reusing. එකම දේ ආයෙ use කරනවා. right එතකොට ඕනම දෙයක් ගොඩක් ඒවා එහෙම පුළුවන් right reuse කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට and then ඊට අමතරව there is recycle කියලා කියන්නේ already තියෙන already කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා එයා useless එයා අපි useful form එකකට convert කරනවා use කරන්න කලින්. හරි reuse and recycle are two different things. Reuse means තියෙන කෙනා හැම මං ආයෙ use කරනවා. Recycle means තියෙන කෙනා useless so I have to convert it to your useful form. For an example ඔය ගෙදර ඉතුරුන ඉඳුල් ඒ වගේ දේවල් වීසි කරන දේවල් නැත්තම් ඔය මේ vegetable scrap එහෙම ඔය peel කරනව ඒ ටික useless නේ. but මං ඒක ගිහිල්ලා compost එක ගිහිල්ලා දාලා ටිකක් කල් තිබුණම compost හැදෙනවා. compost is useful. that is called recycle. switching off හරි මෙතන කියන්නේ reduce වලට example එකක්. අඩුවෙන් use කරන්න ඕනේ. reduce means අඩුවෙන් use කරන්න. yes. switching off unnecessary electric lamps, that is true. unnecessary electric lamps switch off කරනවා කියන්නේ අඩුවෙන් use කරනවා. eating all the food served for self. එතකොට තමන්ට බෙදාගත්ත කැමරේ එක තමන් කනවා කියන්නේ එතන waste එක අඩුයි. waste එක අඩුවෙන් create වෙනවා. so that is also true. closing the unnecessarily opened water taps, that is also true. එතන water අඩුවෙන් use කරන්න. refraining from using polythene කියන එක අපිට ඒකට example එකක් විදිහට ගන්න බෑ. there's another concept ළමයි replace කියලා. replace කියලා කියන්නේ අපි දැනට use කරන environment එකට harmful දේවල් replace කරනවා ඔයා හොඳ දේවල් වලින්. for an example, instead of using shopping bags you can use cloth bags. the pump bags. okay මොනවාරි use කරන්න පුළුවන්. so අන්න ඒ වගේ තමයි replace කියලා කියන්නේ. so fourth one is a good thing but it is not an example for reduce. okay. okay, so that is about the 2018 question. Up to 2018, my laptop is stuck. Okay. From the 2018 MCQ paper, do you all have any questions? 2018 MCQ එකේ මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද මගෙන් අහන්න. Before we move on. If everything is clear, give me a thumbs up. Okay. 2018 paper 2 එකේ අපි ඔක්කොම discuss කරාද? කියන්නේ biosphere, hydrocarbons අරෙන්න did we discuss everything in part 2? 2018 part 2. What do we have to discuss? What do we have to discuss? Five, six, seven, eight, we have to discuss. Really? What about the Sunday class? 3, 4, 5 questions we didn't discuss. Elang essay questions lamai. Okay, tell me. Essay questions api individual then Saturday class එක හෙට discuss කරමු. Sunday class එක අනේදා discuss කරමු. අපි MCQ වලට stick වෙමු. I asked you all to do the 2019 paper, right? 2019 MCQ කරන්න කිව්ව නේද? Yeah, 2019 full paper කරන්න කිව්ව. Okay. Then we'll go to 2019 MCQ. Our essay questions classes දෙකේ චුට්ටක වෙනසක් තියෙනවා තැන් දෙකක ඉන්නේ. Therefore we will discuss those in the individual classes tomorrow and day after tomorrow. We'll go to 2019 MCQ. මේ අන්තිම කාලේ ගොඩක් MCQ discuss කරන එක කොහොමත් හොඳයි. මොකද MCQs වල areas ගොඩක් cover වෙනවා එකපාර. $2019 paper. Liver is what? Liver is an organ, no? Simple thing අපි ටටක් ගාලා discuss කරගෙන යමු. Liver is an organ, so answer is the third one. To maintain the balance of which of the following cycles is biological fixation? ඒක biosphere එකේ තියෙනවා. දැන් answer underline කරගන්න nitrogen cycle. ඒක biosphere recording එකෙන් පස්සේ confirm කරගන්න. Third one. Which of the following quantity is a vector? So again, mama scale vector ගැන කතා කරන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ previous 3 papers වල ආපු questions අපි discuss කරානේ. Basically scale එකක් කියන්නේ magnitude එක විතරයි අපි කතා කරන්නේ. Distance is a scalar, pressure is a scalar, work is a scalar, energy, time, mass, speed, what else? Power, they are all scalar quantities. Vector කියලා කියන්නේ magnitude and direction both we are talking about. So displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, weight, upthrust, they are all forces. Then අපි ගත්තොත් what else? Momentum, they are all vectors. So displacement is the answer. Which of the following molecule is composed of the highest number of atoms? Yes. මෙතන carbon එකයි hydrogen 3යි carbon එකයි hydrogen එකයි oxygen එකයි all together 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 මෙතන all together 7 තියෙනවා මෙතන carbon එකයි chlorine 4යි all together there are 5 atoms here oxygen 4යි sulfur එකයි ඔක්කොම 5යි then hydrogen 2යි 7 here nitrogen 1 hydrogen 2 මෙතන 3 atoms ඒක 2 ගේ multiply වෙන හින්දා 3 times 2 is 6 6 atoms, 7, 8. So altogether there are 8 atoms. So the answer is the fourth one. A rough sketch drawn by a student by observing an underground stem during a field study is shown below. To which type of underground stems does this belong? මේ මොනවාද මේ? මේ තියෙන්නේ මොනවාද? Very obvious, no? මේ picture එකේ පෙන්නන්නේ මොනවාද? Yeah. Others? It is ginger, no? Turmeric මේ වගේ නෙවෙයි. Turmeric එක හරි picture I can't show you now. You can Google and find. But සමහර ගෙවල් වල turmeric උත් හැදෙනවා. ginger නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අනිවාර්යෙන් දැකලා ඇති. මොකද අපි කඩෙන් ගත්තත් මේ වගේනේ ginger ගන්න. ඒතර ওই විදිහට තමයි කොහමද ginger තියෙන්නේ. turmeric උත් ටිකක් මේ වගේ. So it is rhizome. I'm not going to talk about underground stems again. ඔයගන්ට මතක නැත්නම් previous past paper revisions go through කරලා බලන්න වෙනවා. මේක අපි හතර වෙන වෙනම අරගෙන මම diagrams ඇඳලානේ. I told you rhizome එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මෙහෙම උඩ plant එක තියෙනවා යට vertically තමයි underground stem එක තියෙන්නේ. So this is rhizome. Examples are ginger and turmeric. comb ගත්තොත් එහෙම underground stem එක තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙම horizontally පල්ලෙහාට. This is comb. Examples හබරල ගහලා. If you take bulb onion හොඳම example මෙහෙම plant එක තියෙනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙම stem එක චූටියට තියෙනවා underground then roots are here. This is bulb. Leeks onion examples. Then stem tuber කියලා කියන්නේ මෙහෙම plant එක තියෙනවා underground මෙහෙම branches එක තියෙනවා. This is example is potato. Okay, sixth one. Which of the following structure function pairs indicates the correct relationship? Blood platelets, production of antibodies. Is that correct? No. What produces antibodies? White blood cells produce antibodies. Next one, white blood cells transport of oxygen. That is not true. What transports oxygen? What transports oxygen? Yes, red blood cells. Red blood cells phagocytosis. Is it true? No. Then what does phagocytosis? What does phagocytosis? WBC, white blood cells. Blood plasma transport of hormones කියන එක තමයි හරි answer. You know blood plasma is made up of like a lot of water, then proteins එහෙම තියෙනවා. then blood plasma එකේ තව nutrients තියෙනවා මොකද ඒවා transport කරනවා nutrients enzymes hormones antibodies nitrogenous කියන්නේ waste products auxiliary products ඒ ඔක්කොම transport වෙන්නේ blood plasma එකේ okay relative atomic mass of iron is 56 thus which of the following statements is the correct answer what do you think what is the answer So, if you take the relative atomic mass is 56, relative atomic mass එක 56 කියලා ගත්තොත් relative atomic mass 56 කියලා කියන්නේ එයාගේ molar mass එක මොකද්ද? What is the molar mass? If the relative atomic mass is 56, what is the molar mass? Hmm? 56 grams per mole. I told you if it's an element, relative atomic mass. If it is a molecule, relative molecular mass, you get them. You put the unit grams per mole, you get the molar mass. ඒ කියන්නේ 56 grams per mole නේ molar mass එක. ඒ කියන්නේ එක mole එකක mass එක 56 grams. And you know 1 mole is equal to 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 atoms or molecules, and that would also be 56 grams. Therefore, third one is the correct answer. Mass of 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 iron atoms is 56 grams. Okay, next one. Which of the following molecules is made up of two covalent bonds? What is the answer? If you take chlorine, chlorine කියන්නේ chlorine, chlorine. Lone pairs are like this. There is only one covalent bond. If you take CH4, carbon තියෙනවා වටේට hydrogens හතරක් තියෙනවා. There are 4 covalent bonds. HCl, there is only one covalent bond. Water, is the one where there are 2 covalent bonds. Then coordination of movements and equilibrium of the human body are maintained by what? Coordination of movements and equilibrium. Equilibrium කියන වචනේ ආපු ගමන් you know which part. It is cerebellum. Muscle movements ගොඩක් වෙලාවට cerebrum cerebellum දෙකම කරනවා, but equilibrium ගත්තොත් එමේ it is definitely cerebellum. Therefore answer is cerebellum. Let's move on to our next set of questions. Okay. Consider the following statements on various processes taking place in a plant. Plants emit carbon dioxide only during night. What do you think about A? Plants emit carbon dioxide only during night. Marita Kalin Kiana, Anna, tell me if this is correct or not. True or false? A. Plants emit carbon dioxide only during night. Is it true or false? Yeah. The process by which plants emit carbon dioxide is respiration. Respiration, although you know, if you take a plant like this, they take oxygen and they release carbon dioxide. Make a daytime eketh wenawa. I mean, respiration happens all the time, right? Nighttime eketh wenawa. What about photosynthesis? If you take a plant, photosynthesis wala, the plant takes carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. Make a venne daytime vitarai. So plants emit carbon dioxide only during night keneka varadi because its respiration, it happens in both during daytime and nighttime. Plants emit oxygen during the daytime. Plants emit oxygen during the daytime. That is true. That is done by photosynthesis. That is true. Then C, gaseous exchange in plant leaves mainly occurs through stomata. What do you think about that? Gaseous exchange in plant leaves mainly occurs through stomata. What do you think about that? Is it true or false? Others? It's true. Stomata can, if you take a leaf, on the lower side of the leaf, there are little pores from which gases can go back and forth. Gases entering the plant leaves diffuse into the cells through intercellular spaces. What do you think about that? Wait, plants emit only oxygen. Make a false, huh? I missed that here. Only oxygen. It's only කියන part එක තියෙනවානේ. Plants emit oxygen during the night time. Only oxygen. That is not true. Daytime ne? Daytime ekata, it emits oxygen by photosynthesis, but it also emits carbon dioxide by respiration. So B is false. D is true. So C and D are the answers. So fourth one is the correct one. Okay. Then the acceleration due to gravity on the Earth's surface is 10 ms minus 2. The acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the moon is 1/6 the acceleration due to gravity of Earth. If the weight of a man on Earth is 600 newtons, how much is his weight on the moon? Okay, අපි මුලින් බලමු Earth එකේ. W equals mg. මේ මනුස්සයාගේ Earth එකේ weight එක 600 newtons. Max එක we don't know, gravitational acceleration is 10 ms minus 2. එහෙනම් mass එක කියලා කියන්නේ මේ 10 එක මම මේ පැත්තට ගෙනිච්චාම division වෙනවා. So 600 divided by 10, that would be 60 kg. Earth එකේ mass එක. Moon එකට යන්න. දැන් moon එකේ weight එකනේ අපිට හොයන්න ඕනේ. W equals mg. The person's mass does not change, whether he's on Earth or Moon or Mars or wherever, the mass doesn't change. So මෙතන mass එක මම 60 kg කියලා හොයාගත්තා. So I use the same mass. Sorry, same mass. Gravitational acceleration, now it's different, no? With the gravitational acceleration on Moon is 1/6 of the gravitational acceleration on Earth. Earth එකේ 10 නම් Moon එකේ gravitational acceleration එක 1/6 of 10. So 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 10 is 60. So 10 times 10 is 100 newtons. So that would be, the answer would be 100 newtons. මම එක දිගට කරන් යනවා ළමයි, but if you don't understand, let me know, then I will stop there. I will explain it again. The deficiency of which following vitamin causes anemia? Yes. Vitamin B, ne? The deficiency of vitamin B causes anemia. Okay. Next one. In which part of the female reproductive system does fertilization occur in human reproduction? Quickly tell. කොතනද reproduction කොතනද fertilization වෙන්නේ? Yes, fallopian tube එකේනේ. Fallopian tube එකේ upper part එකේ තමයි fertilization වෙන්නේ. So the egg will be released by the ovaries that will be captured by the fallopian tube and it will like slowly move it a bit. As it is coming, the sperms will come and then we'll go to the upper part of the fallopian tube where the fertilization will happen. What is the mass of glucose required to prepare 500 cubic centimeters of a glucose solution of concentration 1 moles per cubic decimeter? හරි මේ වගේ calculation එකක අපෙන් අහන්නේ මොනවාද mass එක glucose solution required to make 500 cubic centimeters volume එක දීලා තියෙනවා 500 cubic centimeters concentration එක දීලා තියෙනවා 1 moles per cubic decimeter relative molecular mass එක 180 කියලා දීලා තියෙනවා එහෙනම් ඒකෙන් මට ගන්න පුළුවන් molar mass එක 180 grams per mole. එහෙනම් මුලින්ම what I do is C equals N over V දාලා number of moles ගන්න. C is 1 moles per cubic decimeter, that is the concentration. Number of moles I don't know. Volume එක 500 cubic centimeters. I have to convert it to cubic decimeters. So that would be 0.5. තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් කියන්න. I will bring this up here. So number of moles equals 1 times 0.5. That would be 0.5 moles. Then N equals M over M. Number of moles I found here, that is 0.5 moles. Mass එක මම දන්නේ molar mass is 180 grams per mole. එහෙනම් මෙයාව මේ පැත්තට ගෙනිච්චාම multiplication වෙනවා. So mass equals 0.5 multiplied by 180. Therefore, mass will be equal to 90 grams. Did you all get this answer, Lamai? Thumbs up. Good. Okay. Okay, great. So that's the second one. 15th question. The movement of an object during 25 seconds is illustrated by the velocity time graph given. Select the correct statement about the movement of the object. ළමයි ඔයගලන්ට මම full papers කරන්න කිව්වේ කොතනට යනකන්ද 2019 full paper කිව්වා 2020 full paper කරන්න කිව්වද? Did I ask you to do the 2020 full paper? No. Okay. කිව්වා හරි නැති හරි කොහමද දැන් අපි 2019 නේ දැන් discuss කරන්නේ? 2020 2021 2022 2021 2022 මේ අවුරුද්ද එක මේකට 2022 paper 2023 වලනේ කරේ. So මේ තුනේම full papers කරා. That includes the MCQ. The other biosphere recording කෙවුවට පස්සේ biosphere questions ඔක්කොම කරන්නත් පුළුවන් නේ. ඒතර ඒ ටිකත් කරන්න. Let me put this to the group before I forget. Today is 16th, ne? Okay. Alright, we'll come back to the question. 14th lesson means hydrocarbons, ne? Hydrocarbons, okay. Let me check. මම එක record කරන්න පටන් ගත්තා. Hydrocarbons, okay. I have a bit more to record, I think. One second. දුසින්දි ඔයා මට කලින් මේ reminders ටිකක් දාලා තිබ්බා but can I ask again මට මේ හෙට ඔයාට දාන්න පුළුවන්ද hydrocarbons එක මතක් කරනවද biosphere එක මම අද එවන්නම් hydrocarbons එක හෙට එවන්නම් I think I said that I will send it on Tuesday or Wednesday but I couldn't record the rest of it but biosphere is okay ඒක අද එවන්නම් මම හෙට hydrocarbons එක එවන්නම් hydrocarbons is a short lesson we'll quickly I mean, it's a short recording anyways. Okay. The movement of an object during the 25 seconds is illustrated. Hari. Retardation of the object is 2ms minus 2. Lamai mataka tiyagana, whenever they say retardation, they're talking about deceleration. Deceleration can mean make kotasane. That is 2ms minus 2. Balamu. Here, you know, acceleration nekamane deceleration kyanane. So you get it from the gradient. So if you look at this point, we are coordinates the 20 and 10. If you take this point, the coordinates are 25 and 0. So y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. Here gradient and gun. y2 is minimum, that is 0 minus y1 kyanne 10. x2 is 25, x1 is 20. That is minus 10 divided by 25 minus 20 is 5. That would be minus 2. Again, acceleration like a minus 2 ms minus 2. That means retardation or deceleration would be minus a kind color 2 ms minus 2. Seems like that is the correct statement. Let's check the others also. Displacement of the object is 0. That is not possible because in a velocity time graph, area under the graph can come a displacement gun. That is, you can definitely calculate the area under this graph. Ne? Take a 0 in and you will get some value. So that is not 0. Acceleration is 10. Acceleration banana make what say. Methana coordinates 0, 0. Methana coordinates 10, 10. So let's get the gradient there. Acceleration payනවා, but anyhow, we will do the calculation. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. y2 is 0, y1 is also what? The 10. Eh? y2 is 10, y1 is 0. x2 is 10, x1 is 0. So 10 minus 0 is 10, 10 divided by 10 is 1. The acceleration is 1 minus 1 ms minus 2, not 10. So this is wrong. Object has moved 20 seconds at velocity 10. 10 කියන velocity එක move වෙලා තියෙන්නේ 10 second ඉඳන් 20 second වෙනකන්. So here it has only moved at 10 minus 1 velocity for 10 seconds. And 20 seconds කියන එක වැරදි. So the first one is anyways the answer. Okay. Then let's move on. අපි 18th question එක වෙනකන් discuss කරලා ඉවර කරමු. In which part of the alimentary canal is the enzyme lipase added to the food? What did you put? Lipase කොහෙන්ද එන්නේ ළමයි? What secretes lipase? What is the organ or gland that secretes lipase? Pancreas. Pancreas, so මෙතන duodenum එක තියෙනවා. Duodenum එක ළඟ මෙහෙම pancreas එක තියෙනවා. Pancreas secretes lipase. Yes. What does lipase do? What does lipase do? What does lipase do? Converts lipids to fatty acids and glycerol. Yes. Lipids tika convert karna fatty acids and glycerol वलट. So that is one of the enzymes secreted by pancreas to the duodenum. තව enzymes දෙකක් ඉන්නවා. කවුද? Enzymes secreted by pancreas to the duodenum. Yes, amylase. What does amylase do? Then I also got, yes, trypsin. What does amylase do? Yes. Starch to maltose. What does trypsin do? Proteins to polypeptides. ඒත් එක්කම දැන් මෙතනින් gall bladder එක එනවානේ. Gall bladder, my handwriting is very bad. Not handwriting, my drawings are bad, but anyhow, gall bladder තියෙන liver එකේ. So this is the liver, this is the gall bladder. What does gall bladder secrete? Add to the duodenum. What does the gall bladder add to the duodenum? Bile. What does bile do? Emulsification of lipids. Emulsification means big lipid droplets are broken down to small droplets. ඊට අමතරව small intestine එකේ යනකොට තව enzyme secrete වෙනවා maltase, sucrase, lactase and peptidase. Right? So ඒවත් මතක තියාගන්න. Now here lipase is added to the duodenum. Given below is the balanced equation relating to the decomposition of potassium permanganate. How much is the amount of moles of potassium permanganate that should be decomposed to produce 3 moles of oxygen? Mana potassium permanganate ඉස්සරහා තියෙන number එක 2. Oxygen ඉස්සරහා තියෙන number එක 1. So KMnO4 and oxygen අතර ratio එක KMnO4 දෙකකට oxygen එකක් හැදෙනවා. Then they are asking oxygen 3 moles හැදෙන්න potassium permanganate කොච්චර ඕනේද? Wait. KMnO4 දෙකකට oxygen එක්කෙනෙක් හැදෙනවා. Then oxygen 3 moles හැදෙන how many moles of potassium permanganate do we need? 6 moles. 2:1 ratio නේ නම් 6:3 කියන්නේ 2:1. So therefore we need 6 moles. Okay, 18th one. There are 3 wires of equal length and uniform resistance. Illustrated below are 3 instances in which the 3 wires are connected between the points X and Y. The bulb connected to the circuit lights brightest in which instance? In which instance does it light the brightest? Others? Answer the third එක. Let's see how to get that. මෙම හිතන්න අපි මේකට දැන් value එකක් දාගමු. Let's say for an example this wire is 6 centimeters. Sorry, 6 centimeter. අපි resistance value එක දාමු. Sorry, 6 ohm. This wire is 6 ohm. එතකොට instance 1 එකේ මම මේ wire එක කෙලින්ම set කරනවා මේ wire එක මම resistor එකක් විදිහට පෙන්නන්නම්. 6 ohm resistor එක කෙලින්ම මම connect කරනවා circuit එකට. So the resistance is 6 ohm here. කෙලින්ම යාව connect කරානේ. ඊළඟට මම මොකද කරන්නේ 6 ohm එක ගෙනාව I'm gonna second wire is cut into 2 equal parts now. So 6 ohm එක මම equal parts දෙකකට කපා ගත්තාම that would be 3 ohm 3 ohm. And now I connect them parallelly like this. Let's see. මේ එකක් 3 ohm. The other one is also 3 ohm. 3 ohm, 3 ohm. Here we'll have to calculate the equivalent resistance. 1 over R equals 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3. So, common denominator is there. So, 1 plus 1 is 2 over 3. Cross multiplication, 2R multiplied by 1 times 3 is 3. R equals 3 divided by 2. Therefore, R equals 1.5 ohm. Bana මෙතන resistance එක 6 ohm. මෙතන resistance එක 1.5 ohm. ගොඩක් resistance එක අඩුයි නේ. Then let's look at the third instance. The third cut into 3 equal parts. මේ wire එකම 3 equal parts වලට කැපුවොත් 6 ohm wire එකක් 3 parts වලට කපනවා කියන්නේ 2 ohm 2 ohm 2 ohm 2 ohm 2 ohm 2 ohm. Let's try that. ඒක දැන් මෙහෙම parallelly connect කරලා තියෙන්නේ නේ. Like this. 2 ohm 2 ohm 2 ohm. මෙතන bulb එකකුත් තියෙනවා. I forgot to draw the bulb. That's a battery. So equivalent resistance calculate කරොත් 1 over R equals 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2. Common denominator එකක් තියෙනවා. So the numerator I will add 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So 3 over 2. Cross multiplication 3R equals 1 times 2 is 2. R equals 2 divided by 3. Roughly ගත්තොත් මේක 0.66 something තමයි එන්නේ. So that is even lower. Man එන්න equivalent resistance එක අඩු වෙනවා නේ ළමයි. See here. Here the resistance was 6 ohm. The total equivalent resistance. Here the total resistance or equivalent resistance was 1.5 ohms. Here the total or equivalent resistance is 0.66 ohm. Resistance එක එන්න අඩු වෙනවා කියන්නේ current එකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? When resistance decreases, does the current increase or decrease? When the resistance decreases, does the current increase or decrease? Increase, yes. Because the resistance is the disturbance. Resistance අඩු වෙනවා කියන්නේ disturbance එක අඩු වෙනවා. Disturbance එක අඩු වෙනවා කියන්නේ current එක වැඩි. Therefore, instance 3 එකේ තමයි වැඩිපුරම current එක යන්නේ. Is that clear, lamai? Up to this point, is everything clear to you? Give me a thumbs up, please. Others? Okay. So we will end the class for today. Saturday class, lamai tika heta api as usual hamba vena 7 to 10. Sunday class, as usual Sunday, which is 18th, we will meet. එතකොට අපි අර essay 2018 එකේ essay questions discuss කරමු. because අපි තැන් දෙකක ඉන්න හින්දා ඒක අපි එදාට discuss කරමු. Next week also there will be 1 or 2 extra classes. However, I heard that some of you have exams in it. So ඔයගලගේ exam schedules එක්ක බලලා අපි දාගමු. maths එකට නම් මම Monday morning දාගත්තා. Probably Tuesday morning or Friday morning we'll have a class. Okay. All right. Then we'll end the class. We'll see each other in a day or two in the weekend. Until then, have a good time, study well. And if you have any questions, you can ask. I'll send the biosphere recording today. Okay, Lama. See you.